If you're the British Home Secretary, you really have to be very careful how you deal with things, particularly in the public domain. And as we've seen recently, our latest British Home Secretary, the Right Honourable Yvette Cooper, who was also married to the fledgling TV presenter Ed Balls over on Good Morning Britain, of where famously he interviewed her but never really asked any leading questions and pretended not to know the answers or indeed the sort of responses that she was going to give back. Even, as I say, though they're married, this made an absolute mockery of the ill-fated breakfast show, whose ratings are truly dwindling. You see, even one of their contributors, Kevin Maguire, recently mocked the ratings of His Majesty the King's speech, forgetting of course that there's a massive pickup on digital platforms and through websites. This is Kevin, who can't rustle any audience at 6:30 in the morning on Good Morning Britain. You see how people pick and poke away, and this is really now the problem for the Home Secretary. I don't know if you're aware of this, but recently she went out to give out free mince pies in her constituency up in West Yorkshire. A brave move, considering she's done nothing to smash the gangs, as she said. This is, of course, the influx of illegal migrants and simply illegals bleeding the system dry, all the while your winter fuel allowance has been ripped away from you. You're freezing, but of course, there she is giving out free mince pies. Now, I don't know, as I say, if you're aware of this, but what happened was a very plucky northerner decided to bring down Yvette. Basically, she was outside a shopping centre, as I say, dishing out these pre-made mince pies with some assistant who stood there gormlessly looking on, smiling away, clueless as to what was coming. This woman gave it both barrels, basically saying she was a disgrace and she's done nothing to stem the flow of migrants, and she literally said what the general public were thinking. And this is the problem when you go out into the public domain, and I can tell you this from personal experience, they don't hold back. Now, what developed was simply this. The woman was saying you should be giving out blankets because pensioners are freezing since you scrapped the winter fuel allowance. You should be ashamed of yourself. And on it went. And videoed, and this is the digital age that we live in, by someone next to her. Yvette, was trying to say, oh, it's tradition, we just give out mince pies. This woman was having none of it. Now, behind the scenes at Number 10, I can tell you, things took a turn for the worse very quickly, because the current British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, was appalled that once again his party, received such negative headlines in the world's media. You have to say, well, what were you expecting, Clothead? You've sent out an MP, or she's done it on her own, and it's out at the most freezing time of the year. People are fearing a cost of living crisis, and they're just going to say what they think. This is the true public. This isn't the whitewash that, of course, the Labour Party, the current government, want you to believe. Now what's happened is this, it's got worse. A recent poll shows that if they were to now do a general election, undertake one, 200 Labour seats would be wiped away. This is, of course, a brand new headache for the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir. He can't believe how quickly, how fast and how soon his loving has fallen apart. And as I told you in a recent video, none of the celebrities that were quick waving banners saying, marvellous, Sir Elton John, Jason Manford, all of those people, no, they're not speaking now because they know the public tide has turned. And more importantly, they're relying on you, the general public, to snap open your purse and go and see them in concerts and stuff like that. As for Yvette, apparently, according to the source, she's profusely apologised, but is it enough to cling on? Or will she be like Rachel from Accounts, who's also making a right hash of the economy? Well, apparently curtains are going to be closing on both those ladies very soon. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.